He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Every so often, we all need a wee treat, a bit of a splurge, whether that's something tasty.
I love cherries. That's my one splurge.
It's kind of meat, actually.
Maybe a coffee once in a while.
The coffee costs $7.10, but I just really like the barista-made stuff.
Maybe your splurge is a hobby.
Car stuff, ruined cars, yeah, unfortunately. Parts, upgrades, it's a bad money pit.
My next splurge will be camera related, probably a nice camera lens.
Probably clothes for me.
Yeah, clothes and shoes. Yeah.
But when times are tight, if you splurge on one thing, chances are you'll have to make economies elsewhere.
If one goes up, another has to go down. So what are you going to sacrifice in order to make those splurges happen?
This makes me think of those design magazines where you get a list of cool products and there's a splurge option, which is obviously the expensive version, and a save option. But I think maybe we can do both. Kia ora, I'm Katy Gosset and welcome to Thrift. Our saying in this episode is something we tend to say to other people. You want your cake and eat it too. Now usually that means that someone is trying to have more than perhaps they should. But I've always thought it was a ridiculous saying. What is the point in having cake if you're not allowed to eat it? Most of us have some kind of cake in inverted commas, a treat that we like, whether it's actually cake or just something else that we don't want to compromise on. But I'm interested in the how do we get to eat it part.
Hey ladies, this is Katy. Hi, goodness. You've missed out on the coffee.
Helping me out in this SEP are members of a coffee group based at a local women's drop-in centre.
You can make coffees over there.
But they're just ordinary gumboot.
Sharon and Terrie meet regularly at this welcoming space. And speaking of welcoming...
Oh, I do have one caramel latte, but it's a sugar-free one with me.
Oh, I wouldn't want to take your caramel latte. But lately, some of the women have also been taking part in an incentive savers scheme with the Christchurch Methodist Mission. There have been sessions on things like having a money-saving mindset and KiwiSaver, and it's run by Linda Smith, a financial mentor who you might have met way back in our very first season.
So I've got information to bring, but I mean it's much bigger than that. We learn off each other.
And the ladies are going to share some of their life experience with us. Tip 1 is all about identifying your priorities, so what you want to spend your money on and what's stopping you. So let's find out more about where Sharon's at.
Just sick of being broke or having no funds towards the end of the year.
Sharon's in her early 60s. She has a part-time job, but until she gets her pension, she's on a pretty tight budget.
Living payday to payday. Had to make a change.
So what have been Sharon's obstacles to saving?
If it was there, why not use it? You can't take it with you.
But another thing that's slowed down her saving.
Not saying no to people. Help a lot of other people more than I perhaps could afford to.
We're going to come back to this in tip 2, but now we're going to look at her priorities. What does she want to be spending her money on? So taking a bit of a nosy through her finances, Sharon would be the first to say that she and her partner are
pretty low budget people, really.
They spend $200 a week on food.
We have a budget for groceries and I don't go over it.
Insurance is also a must. A meal out would be an occasional treat. Again, a low-key one.
It's a workmen's club or it's pub. It's not an expensive meal.
And then there's a small indulgence, the result of a toilet paper-deprived childhood. Yep, you heard me.
I was brought up with a long drop, so we used newspaper because my dad, when we asked him to buy toilet paper, he goes, I've already paid for the press.
And that meant
when I moved out of home, I was buying the best toilet paper I could, the pretty stuff, the peach coloured, the lavender coloured, or the stuff with the pretty flowers on.
And fair enough too. But what about a big splurge? Sharon does have one. It's kind of waiting in the wings.
I haven't left New Zealand yet, I haven't got a passport.
But when the time is right and she's built up enough money...
The one treat that I want is a cruise. That's the one holiday that I want to do.
Now, what about her friend and fellow saver?
My name's Terrie. I'm a mother of 2 and grandma of 9.
Both of Terrie's parents came through the Great Depression and she's always lived pretty frugally.
I grew up living on the smell of an oily rag.
Which was handy because it prepared her for living carefully when she first got married.
My husband was mad about cars.
so other family needs went on the back burner.
My children never had new clothes or good presents because all our money went on that.
These days, Terrie still lives a very modest life, and her children remain her financial priority.
I want to leave my kids in a better position than what I was in when my parents died. I want to be able to leave them something, like all I've got is my house.
But what about splurges? There have been a few over the years, mostly travel related. Terrie's daughter moved to England, and so she put her head down and managed to save enough to visit her every 2 or 3 years.
That was wonderful, and I've got fantastic memories.
Then there was the time her house got munted in the earthquakes, and she realised that while she was out of her house, she could use the accommodation supplement overseas.
So I went to Alaska.
As you do.
It was fantastic. So I've done it.
But whether your big splurge has happened already or is still to come, Linda says it needs to be something that's really important to you.
It's got to be a jolly big stick in the ground that you're going for, and then it's much easier to stick to it.
And speaking of what's important to us, time to put Linda on the spot too.
The splurge is definitely coffee.
In fact, prior to our interview, she checked out her bank account to see just how much money she and her husband had been spending on coffee.
Probably a lot more than I had expected.
But again, it's about your priorities. Having a coffee out is something they value as part of their bike trips with friends, and they make savings elsewhere to balance it out.
So we very rarely go out for dinner. We bike to work so we don't have big petrol costs, so we compensate in other ways.
Like most of us.
I want to make sure the quality of food I eat is always good. So I prioritise that, but I won't go out and eat.
What I've been doing recently is working harder, actually, and working longer hours.
Just overtime, that covers a lot. Always working.
In a busy world, Linda says it's important to push pause every so often and make sure that that work you're doing is actually going towards your priorities. And the best way to do that is to go through your bank account for a quick and sometimes revealing wake-up call. Moving along, most of us enjoy being able to help others.
Family, almost granddaughter especially, if I can help out in any way.
But getting into tip 2 now, brace yourselves because this is a delicate one. Tip 2 is about saying no sometimes. Now that might be because you're saving, and a no now might mean yes down the track. Here's Terrie again.
For our first trip, everything that the kids asked for, I would say, do you really want that ice block, or would you rather go to Australia?
But then there's a type of no that's a bit trickier. Back to Sharon now.
I have 2 daughters and 6 grandchildren.
Sharon is a giving person. Remember, she was quick to offer me her last caramel latte. And when her children were small...
It's made up for them not having their dad around. I spent a lot of money on the girls, and I was last, as most mothers are.
But once her children had grown up and were working full-time, she found she was still supporting one daughter a great deal, paying for internet and topping up her grandchildren's phones.
All my money was going for the grandchildren, and I was still coming last, and I thought, hang on, I might climb the ladder a little bit. So I'm finally climbing the ladder.
And how does that feel to put yourself first a bit?
Good. Yeah, it feels good.
But that decision to limit the spending on her daughter has caused a rift.
We don't speak. She's cut me off pretty much.
Sharon says, though, she had to put some boundaries in place, including a cap on Christmas spending.
Every December I would stop paying those power bills and phone bills so their Christmas presents looked the same as the presents with a family of mum and dad. And then January and February I was in trouble with bills.
And then with her grandchildren, she was spending $200 a child and going into debt. So she's cut that back.
$50 from Nana is enough.
And that's her advice to other families.
They're not going to love you any less if you spend $50 on them or $200.
So a tough decision, but one that Linda points out took a lot of strength.
A lot of people don't do that. They just carry on, and then the money gets larger, and then sort of resentment can happen. But you actually took the time to think, what's going to be fair for them and for me? And kudos to you for doing that. It's really hard.
But people do need to look after themselves.
We have a saying at work that you can't serve from an empty vessel. So you also need to look after yourself in order to be able to help others.
And a good lending tip from another client of Linda's is to keep a $50 note in a jar.
If someone needed the money, they would lend it to them, but it wasn't until that money came back into the jar that they would then re-lend it to someone else. And I thought that was actually quite a clever way of putting boundaries around lending.
It makes the person who wanted the money have to come up with another solution. It might also make them think of the bigger picture and that someone else in their community needs the money more than they do. Or for the person who does end up borrowing it,
that sort of responsibility to pay it back as well. You knew it was going to be needed by somebody else.
Moving on now. You've made your plan, you know what you want to splurge on. Tip 3 is really about some simple techniques that will support your plan.
Because I had to be very careful with money,
here's Terrie again, and she's got a suggestion of what not to do.
Every time there was a sale on, I would buy toys for the kids.
So the children would get a big stash of presents.
But probably not a lot of what they actually wanted.
One time even,
I bought size 8 pyjamas for my youngest grandson when he was just a tiny baby because they were on special.
The trouble is,
he's now 11 and I never did find those size 8 pyjamas.
It was money she says she should have just put aside until closer to the time. And while you're putting that money aside, Sharon reckons a good way to avoid frittering it is to put it into vouchers.
Then closer to Christmas, you've got your money there for your shopping so you can get the up-to-date things that they want.
Sharon uses the same approach to fund trips away. Every payday, she tries to buy a $20 petrol voucher. Or if she comes in under budget when she's doing the grocery shopping, she'll buy a supermarket voucher to the value of whatever money she's saved. Another one of Sharon's tips is paying a small, manageable amount into your bank account every week or setting up a direct debit.
Just treat it like another bill.
And keep money for specific purposes in separate named bank accounts.
Our grandparents would have had the jam jars with the labels on, phone money, grocery money. They knew what they were doing back then, so don't change it.
Another way Sharon puts money aside is by building up credit with people and services she knows she'll use. Basically paying them small amounts in advance.
That's $5 on my doctor's bill or $5 on my vet bill. So when my dog needs to go to the vet, I don't have to take out a loan.
Then there's decluttering and selling stuff on Trade Me.
So that's Splurge money that's not budgeted for bills.
And she has her own side business.
Make candles. So if I can do $60 at a market, that's bonus money. And I might put half towards a bill and the other half is, I've got $30, do you want to go out?
Now, time to recap. Have a good think about what your priorities are. What do you want to splurge on and what's holding you back? And have a look at your bank account to make sure you're spending on the things you want to. If you're going backwards, set budgets and learn to say no, even if that's sometimes a really tough decision. Allow yourself to climb the ladder a bit. Use separate accounts for different goals and name them to keep your motivation up. Put any small amounts of money into vouchers that are less easily frittered. They can go towards your goals, other treats, and things like Christmas presents. And remember, a little indulgence is actually okay, especially a 3-ply treat.
I still look for good toilet paper now.
And don't give up on your big splurge.
I mean, I might be 68 before I do the cruise or 66, but that's the goal. That's the one thing that I'd like to do with money that I can save.
Next time on Thrift, home ownership can seem like a bit of a distant dream, but some New Zealanders are still managing it in different ways. I pop in on a couple of friends who've gone into co-ownership together and are looking forward to their first Christmas in their own home. To hear that episode and others, follow and listen to Thrift on your favourite podcast app. Many thanks to my wise guests in this episode, Sharon, Terrie, and financial mentor Linda Smith. This podcast is produced and presented by me, Katy Gosset. It's engineered by Alex Harmer. Tim Watkin is the executive producer of podcasts and series, and Nate McKinnon makes our videos. If you want to get in touch, you can email me at thrift@rnz.co.nz. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite.